Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. We're doing an index card for week 22 today. Prompts are heart, twine, and doily. So the inspiration pick I've included here is in the upper left hand corner. I got that off of Pinterest and I thought, I think I can make this work for the prompts. So for our background, we're going to be doing a DIY crackle technique. It's new to this channel. I've never done it on the channel before, but been doing it for a really long time. So basically, this is gessoed first, and I put a layer of paint down, and that's going to be the color that shines through or that shows through the cracks, right? So I'm going for like an antique look, so I went with the Umber. And then you take a whole lot of Elmer's glue, a lot of it, and you put it on there very, very thick. And then you take another acrylic paint and you put it right over that glue, wet as can be, and you layer that on pretty thick as well. Yeah, so now you just wait, and you can see that it's already starting. And so what I did here is I kind of did a split screen, right? So you're going to see my hands going over it, but you can see it's already reacting. So I did a split screen so you can see on the right hand side as it processes and still watch what I'm doing on the left hand side. I also have that inspiration pick back so you can see, you know, where the inspiration came in. So I figured I would do an angel. I'm not very good at making faces, so it's not exactly, but I kind of used it a little bit. I figured in my pick I was going to do a robe, which in the inspiration pick was more of a dress, I think. So I figured I would do a robe, and I'm taking the darker red, the pomegranate seed, and I'm putting it in places where I think that there's going to be shadows, where the robe is pleated over or folding or flowing. And now I'm taking the lighter red and I'm putting that on there as where, the base color, right? So what I really like about using these paints and using acrylics in general is I like to basically mix my colors on the paper. So I put the dark down rather heavy, I put the light down, and then as I'm putting the red or the light down, I'm mixing it with the dark, which is making the medium. So now I'm taking and just giving her some skin. And I really want this to be, with the background being so rough like it is, with the crackle and etc. I thought I would do like a real painty look for her skin and her face. So I'm not doing a heck of a lot of blending here. I'm just throwing on the color and just doing layers of paint and layers of paint. So I'm putting in the shadow now, which is that honey brown, and now I'm putting in the highlights. So the highlights are on her cheek, on her chin, on her nose, her neck, her clavicle bone, and her forehead. So then I'm going to bring back that original skin color. And remember how I said I like to mix on the paper, right? Well, here I am trying to mix, but it's all dry. It's not dry, but it's not thick enough for me to brush out. So I'm just coming in with the original, skin tone that I used, and using my finger, just blending all those colors in. And you'll see here, it's a very painty look. You can see the strokes and etc., which I think is rather appropriate with that background. So just putting in some shadow by her robe and fixing where all that red came up when I was painting on the skin. And now I'm going to bring back the inspiration photo, and I'm ripping just by hand from an old book page heart that I'm going to put on her robe, just like the inspiration pick. So I'm ready to put this girl on the background, so I figured, okay, we're going to dry the rest of it. So from what I understand, the crackle will work better if you let it dry, most of the way at least, on its own naturally versus forcing it dry. So I waited as long as I could before I dried it, and I cut her out. because yeah, I mean, that was the original intent. That's why I went with that size paper, but um, I was off screen, so you didn't really see me cutting it all out. Now I'm putting on the wings, the doily. So I had a heart doily that I just ripped in half. And now I'm just, giving it a little dimension, making it a little puffy by doing the folds in the middle and trying to get the placement right. Found the placement for that one, putting this one down behind her. It took me a while to figure this out. I'm not sure why it was so difficult, but this is sped up a whole lot, and so it just couldn't get it right, and I think we got it this time. So, or maybe we did it. I'm fixing it again. All right. Oh, and so I thought when I was putting it on there and I was looking at, how the folds were laying, etc., I'm like, this is kind of wide. Her arms look really big. I'm going to give her elbows and I'm going to kind of pretend like her arms are behind her back. Because just the way the folds, I didn't plan where the folds were very well. And just by the way the paint and the mixing mixed up, I just thought it would look better if I gave her arms that were folded behind her. So here comes the twine. I am going to give her hair with the twine. So I'm just separating all the pieces of the twine, and then I'm, kind of knotting it up, rolling it up, trying to figure out how I want it to lay there, and realized I hadn't glued her down yet. So gluing her down, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna kind of make it like a heart bun on the top, maybe, because I needed height. There was a lot of space at the top. That's probably why it was hard for my placement. I wanted to use up that space, but I couldn't figure out how. So I'm gonna give her a heart bun, and I'm just using my art glitter glue and folding that hair back up so it kind of looks like her hair's up. So yeah, I think I'm really actually really pleased with how this turned out. And then fold it over the one side to give her, kind of like the little locks hanging down from her side. Then the art glitter glue is perfect for this because it dries tacky so quickly, and it's all clear when it dries, so you don't see it. And then thought I needed a little bit more hair up there to make it not look like she's an alien. So that's what I'm doing, is just, folding those pieces that I cut off in half and putting them on there and giving her like more curls on the top. And then I'm just gluing those end pieces down to kind of give her like a bangs kind of thing. Yeah, I'm actually really pleased with how that turned out. It actually looks kind of natural. Coloring in her lips. She looks really, really ugly and old right now, so I'm going to color in her lips, which gives her a little bit of life. Not exactly pleased with how this face turned out in the end, but it's an index card. It's my index card. I'm not giving it to anybody, and it's really good practice. So taking my gelatos and just giving her some blush on her cheeks, and then taking the white gelato and giving her the highlights back because that pink was a little too dark. So going to come in with my Zebra Sensations pen and give her some eye, highlight those eyes. When you put the darker line above the eyes, it kind of gives the illusion, that A, she has eyeliner. It defines the eyes. And B, you don't need to necessarily give her eyelashes then, because it kind of looks like they're there without the individual lash. Just, drawing in the arms, putting some doodling on the heart. And now I'm going to go in and do the floating technique. I do this on almost every single piece of art that I do in some way, shape, or form. I love it. It's Karen Burchill's technique, and I'll have a link in the description of the video to teach you how to do it. But the basic technique is you have some paint, you dip your brush in water, you dip the tip of your brush in the paint, and by pushing down on this angle brush, the water comes in, and the paint goes down and flows into the water, so it's not such a harsh line. It gives you that floaty, kind of shadowy, diffused look. So just basically defines and kind of gives it a shadow, so it looks like it's popping off the card a little bit. Dimension. So this is my favorite way of kind of doing that. So you can see here, it looks like her arms are kind of folded behind her. Giving her face some, detail and shadowing the wings behind her. And just doing a little bit of shadowing on her face and above her eyes. Give that some more dimension. And she's looking prettier now, isn't she? A little bit, probably about 30 years younger too. All right, so just giving her some shadowing now on her face and under her hair. Just tweaking. So now that I've got all the shadowing done, the floating technique around her neck, I thought I would glue down her hair, because in my journal book, I'm sure it would have been folded all over, ended up a mess. So I just glued it down. Taking my white Posca, adding some sparkle to her eye. And now I'm going to grab my black Posca pen, and I do this with all of my cards and journal cards as well, for the most part. I like to frame them. So just adding that black frame around, which kind of makes her look a little bit more three-dimensional, because you've got that background like she's in front of something. Thought I would take some of that Umber paint and add some shadows into her hair to make that look a little bit more natural and dimensional as well. So just doing a floating technique around the frame that I drew in. And now I'm going to take this sparkle paste, I guess you would call it. It's called Nebula, and it's gold glitter and has some gold stars in it. I figured that would be really pretty on the white doily for the wings. And her eyes were looking a little strange, so just fixing that. And now, I've decided I was going to put some sparkle in her hair as well. So now we're going to put it in my journal. So this is my index card journal, and week number 22, I think is what I said we're at. Yeah. And write down the prompts. And this is so, when I look at this in years and years and years, and if I can't figure it out, I do know that it was a doily, a twine, and a heart. So just removing the tape, adding the tag, and then I glue the 2 pages together, so it's a single page turn, even though there's 2 pages there. And yeah, there is a video on my channel on how to create this binding, and that's it. And here's a closer up picture of her. I think she turned out really pretty. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it inspires you to try that technique, and maybe even twine his hair. If you like this, please subscribe and like the video. Have a wonderful evening or day wherever you are. Thanks.